Cash One Pawn, Missoula's #1 pawn shop.
You want money? We got money. You need money? We got money. We're cash.
Do yourself a favor and make Cash One Pawn part of your online shopping habits. Cash One Pawn has an awesome online inventory, everything from firearms to power tools to speaker equipment to jewelry. Visit Cash One Pawn today.
Cash One Pawn.
8720 Roller Coaster Road, CashOnePawn.com.
Big Shot Breakdown. Shooting from the hip. Ryan Tootell in studio. He asked, what are we talking about? And I said, you don't need to worry about it. We're just going to roll for as long as we possibly can. How you doing, buddy?
Great. I mean, we got 9 hours to kill here. There is a lot. And I got time. So, saddle up, people.
Well, we are coming to you through the ESPN MT studio. We'll play a portion of this on Nuanez now as well. And that's kind of what we're doing around here these days is cross-promotion, cross-collaboration, et cetera, et cetera. But that's the best way we can get all the people that you love on the microphones here and give you some of the best. So, first of all, I haven't seen you live and in person since my morning jacket. Our little date turned into not because I was in the pit with our good buddy Robert Chase, but we kept looking back at you, and you were not looking at us because you were happy as a clam sitting there in the front row.
I was happy as a clam. Me, Howie Long, and Jeff Ament just had a great night together, and I thought we really took it in well.
We both kind of went into the show blind a couple weeks ago, and I was thoroughly impressed. I thought they were awesome. I thought they rocked.
They were
completely.
They were completely great. Again, I don't have a thoroughgoing understanding of the knowledge of the catalog, and sometimes that's just fine. Like you just go in and let them do what they do, and chopping it up with you guys afterwards on the phones, just the layering and just the power and the strength, but also the melodies. I mean, it's everything. And then last night, if I'm a little raspy, Alabama Shakes. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean, how about the run at the Kettle House, right? You go Dispatch and John Butler Trio, into Tedeschi Trucks, into My Morning Jacket, into the Kitchen Dwellers, then into this last week or so, Alabama Shakes was here. The Pixies are coming around the corner here. It's crazy August. They kind of backloaded it on us because there's hardly anything in July. If it was me, I'd want to get these things spaced out, but I know they can't really control that.
I mean, it's the season. Very early in my radio career, radio life in college, I interviewed John Butler.
Oh, wow.
And
I bet you that was fascinating. He is a fascinating cat.
He is a character for sure, and it was great. He was opening for Dave Matthews at the Gorge.
Nice.
And gave me tickets to go.
Wow.
As a result of our time together and the conversation. And it was an all-timer.
That's awesome.
Yeah, beautiful. So I always tip my cap to John Butler, who is he is just a whole different type of guitarist. I mean,
totally different style. He and Dave Matthews share that in the fact that they play the guitar like wrong, for lack of a better way of saying it, but it's so right because it's the way that they play it, and no one else plays like that. And I'm not saying they play like each other, but they both play it like you could never learn how to play the guitar like that.
It's Reggie Miller shooting a 3.
Exactly, right?
You're like, what?
His shot's ugly, but he's the best shooter ever.
Slap the back of your own hand. How does this cross grip?
Totally.
What are we doing?
Totally.
And then just all-time great.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm reading David Epstein's new book, Range, and it's about exactly this. Like the chapter I just read was about some of the great improvisational jazz musicians of the 19th and 20th centuries, and sort of the common theme was that none of them knew how to read music, nor would they have been as virtuoso if they did know how to read music. They only learned how to play the instrument by copying somebody else and then being like, I'm going to play it like this, and this is how I'm going to play it. And that's why they were so legendary. So, I don't know. It's a lesson for all parents out there. You can give your kids violin lessons from the time they're 6 years old on, or just give them a violin and then see how it goes.
That's how we do radio.
It's exactly right. Big Sky Breakdown, presented in part by Cash One Pawn, the premier pawn shop in Western Montana. Make Cash One Pawn part of your shopping habits. Visit CashOnePawn.com. That's cash, the number one, pawn.com. Okay. One NFL talking point for you.
Yes.
And then we'll talk some Griz and some Bobcats. I was down in Las Vegas, go to the preseason game. Cool opportunity. Just the fact that the schedule's crossed over for two guys that are from Montana, two of Montana's favorite sons of recent years, Junior Bergen playing for the 49ers and Tommy Mellott playing for the Raiders. I mean, the most surreal part was being on the sidelines in the pregame and just you're watching Junior Bergen like ham it up with George Kittle,
right?
And then you're watching Tommy Mellott like chop it up with Ashton Genty, and you're like, I don't even care if these guys get cut.
Well,
these
and
guys
Colt Anderson coaching,
totally,
all of it.
Pregame is kind of laid back, like the first hour. So like I got to go talk. I mean, I had a visit with Colt for like 15 minutes. It was great, because he's kind of intermittently in and out of doing stuff. So. That was super cool, but just from an on-the-field perspective, I know you've been following these guys a little bit. What do you think is the ticket to ride for these guys? I know that we still have another week of this, so probably TBD, but any evaluation on like what you think these guys need to do to continue to try to make these teams?
Well, Junior, they are putting him back there, and he is their guy for returning in the preseason.
Like he's the number 2 on the depth chart, but he has he fielded every kick and every punt return on Saturday for the Niners.
And I think that's obviously a good sign, and they're trying to get all of the info they can, and it doesn't hurt to have Colt Anderson as your special teams coach as well in there. And so the thing is that your opportunities, like if the punter does his job, you don't get to return the kick.
Right.
So it's not just up to you always, to do it. And I feel like we saw that a lot. Ironically enough, the best moment of that game for Tommy Mellott was tackling Junior Bergen on special teams. And so that type of play stands out. But I do think that Junior has a real chance to stick with the 49ers in this capacity. But I do think he needs a moment, too, where he's got to flash that thing.
First week he had the moment where he had the 28-yard punt return, made a guy missed immediately. That was one.
Yep.
But I agree, he needs one more.
And for Tommy Mellott, I must say I'm a little concerned because he's just not getting opportunities. And
that's why the tackle was so big, though.
Yeah.
He got a tackle and he had a 42-yard kick return. So those are two things where he shows them, hey, I can be worth something to your team that's not being a receiver.
Totally. And, I mean, he played in the first preseason game. He got one target, made the catch.
Yes.
It was for a net loss, but it wasn't on him. I mean, he was just running a little cross route, what you're supposed to do, and the defense read it, and that's what it is. He got blown up. But he made the play, that he was supposed to make. But he has not had, I think, yet a single opportunity to return a kick he's been back there, but he hasn't actually done it yet.
Right.
And that's not good. Like, he needs that. And the fact that he's sharing time with another guy that they're trying to, kind of decipher, can he be a returner as well? I think that, Tommy, it's going to take him time. I mean, this isn't his natural position. He didn't play it in college, so I think everybody gets that. But this feels like kind of a practice squad situation to me. And give him, if you like what he brings to the building, which how could you not, and also think that he has it from an athleticism standpoint, which that's up to – I mean, we sit here and we marvel at Tommy Mellott, the athlete, but you just watched somebody named Bosa in, spandex walking around. Now you tell me what type of athlete Tommy Mellott is. You know what I mean?
That's the trippiest part, right? Like, I've been to like half a dozen NFL games. I've been there early to see warm-ups and stuff. Never actually stood on the sidelines until Saturday. But I've been in like the front row, and you get to see them up close. And the most stunning parts are that the skill players are not actually as big as you think they're going to be. But the linemen are way bigger than – I mean, Trent Williams is twice my size. I mean, I wear a size 8 hat. He wears a 12.
Yes.
Like, this guy must wear a size 75 suit jacket. I'm not kidding, dude. He is so big, it's not even possible. And then you look at Nick Bosa, and you're like, okay, what in the hell is going on here? This guy weighs 300 pounds, and he has no body fat. Like, how is this even possible? So that was the thing is actually Mellott looks like a pretty normal receiver. Like, he looked like the receivers. Bergen looked tiny out there, but I don't really know if that actually hurts him, because I actually think being small sometimes can be an advantage, especially in the return game.
Yeah, and I don't. I mean, you talk about like a Darren Sproles or something like that. I mean, it doesn't matter in that setting, in that scenario, how big you are. It matters what can you do, and they got to show it. But we'll see. I mean, only 3 preseason games. So you don't have as much opportunity as you once had. There's only the one set of cuts now, too. But I do think that both of those guys, this third and final preseason game is paramount for both of them.
Yes. The thing is, too, you look at Mellott, like who he has to beat out. The Raiders drafted Jack Beck out of TCU in the, I think, second round. He's the 58th overall pick. And they also have a couple other guys that are sort of fighting it out for a roster spot. And those guys are just more accomplished receivers than...
Well, who isn't? There's not going to be a wide receiver that isn't more accomplished as a receiver than Tommy Mellott.
It also is crazy because my brother's the one that reemphasizes this, because I keep saying, there's just not a lot of guys that run 4.35 or 4.39 or whatever Tommy ran with 41-inch verticals. And Brooks is like, yeah, you're right. There's not a lot of guys, except for that there are a bunch of guys like that in the NFL.
Right.
Like the other guy he's trying to beat out is Alex Bachman. Alex Bachman's been in the league since 2019. He was an undrafted free agent. Out of Wake Forest, he's 5'11", 198 pounds, so pretty much same size as Tommy. He ran a 4.47, so 0.08 of a second slower. He's got a 38-inch vertical, so I mean, it's like same here, right?
Yeah, I mean that's not the same. I mean that is those are the differences, the margins they're looking for. Right. But you still got to be able to do it. You know what I mean?
So I actually started working at the office with Paul before I even started law school. So the summer before starting law school, I did an internship. Knew absolutely nothing about law and just really threw myself in there. Loved it. Loved the type of work that we did. Just kind of wanted to stay on as I continued through law school because I enjoyed the office environment that we had and the work that we were doing so much. And ultimately, after law school, just stayed with Paul. He was gracious enough to offer me a job, and I was able to stay on. And then I've been there ever since.
So knowing nothing about law when you first started working there, what intrigued you about it initially?
Yeah. So, I mean, on the personal injury side, medical malpractice side, I had a huge interest there because I had gotten a biology degree. And so seeing the medicine, the science, and how I could take my background and apply that and use that to our clients' advantage really was something that I was drawn to. But both on the personal injury and the criminal side, I saw the difference that we were making in people's lives and that connection with those people. And it was actually an experience I had in law school for my clinic where I worked at the county attorney's office that it really just hit home for me. I needed a client. That what drives me is having an individual person that I represent and putting their interests first. And so that kind of all came full circle.
They got new ownership, new front office, new head coach, and Pete Carroll. They got a special teams coordinator, Tom McMahon, who's been in the NFL for 30 years and given a bunch of Montana guys opportunities and knows about Tommy. To me, them drafting him in the 6th round to not keep him around in some capacity would be them flat admitting they were wrong. And I just don't think you're going to use your draft capital, even if it's quote-unquote just a 6th-round pick. I just don't think you're going to do that on a guy that you understood that he's a quarterback that you're going to convert to something else.
Yeah, and I think that's why they wanted him, because they see what the potential is in him, but they also understand that this is a project. Right. And it's, I mean, to me, that's got practice squad written all over it, maybe even from the beginning. You know what I mean? That they're like, hey, unless he just walks out there and just can do it, which that hasn't happened yet. And and again, he hasn't had a ton of opportunity to show that. And we don't know what practices look like and what he's doing out there, on the field during the week. And so we'll find out. But generally, if it was going like that in practice, the opportunities then would be there in the game, and they're not. So I think this looks like, practice squad situation.
Here's one thing that's crazy. I talked to Tommy after I interviewed him, just kind of BSing. And I said, how's Vegas? He's like, it's good. It's been kind of an adjustment. And I'm just like, I imagine, you're not really a Vegas guy. You're kind of like a library guy.
He's a Vegas guy in the sense of like a Rain Man.
Right.
He's just out there card counting, like taking the house
exactly.
down.
I almost was like, never play cards, because if you play cards, you will never stop playing cards, and you will either win it all or lose it all. Who knows? Yeah. No, but he said that they during fall camp, they've been practicing outside.
Oof.
Buddy. Oof. It was so hot when we were in Vegas.
Bro.
I didn't even go outside unless we had to, Like in the evenings we would go walk around and it was still 95 degrees at, 10 o'clock at night or whatever. It was 108 degrees when we were trying to walk into the stadium on Saturday. I mean, we were
shockingly hot.
We were like sweating like we were dying.
Yeah.
And this is just carrying camera gear and walking, not wearing full football pads and doing a full workout. So I couldn't believe that they practice outside. Big Sky Breakdown, Ryan Tootell joining us here. Mostly we'll do these on Tuesdays, but we're coming to you here on a Wednesday, just for convenience sake more than anything. Thanks to our great friends at Ryan Miller and Coburn. Paul Ryan, Angie Miller, happy to add Abigail Coburn to their firm's name. She is an ace in criminal defense, particularly when you have any sort of federal
Whatever
drug
your
charges.
football love, the NFL,
Find out more about Ryan
FBS,
Miller and
FCS,
Colter.
Griz Cats, and even area high school. We've got it covered. 102.9 ESPN Radio.
2233. That's 406-542-2233. Ryan Miller and Coburn, your Montana attorneys. All right, I've answered this question for myself, so I'm just going to lay it out there for you.
Okay.
What is the primary narrative around the Griz football team entering 2025?
Who's playing?
Who is what guy?
Who? Yeah,
This is the game we play at practice.
And
on the roster, who's that? Who's that?
I mean, more. That's a little tongue in cheek, but I'll flesh it out just a little bit because I'm not actually lying about that. The biggest narrative is how is there enough talent to be good, and that is a very odd question to be asking about a Montana Grizzly football team because, but last year there wasn't. And I've never seen it before from a Grizzly football team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And I know that they have absolutely reloaded. I mean, they got so many guys they brought in. Like they've been on the warpath in the transfer portal and trying to find every body they can to bring in. And so it's going to be a drastically different team, obviously a drastically different group of guys, but they didn't have the horses to play ball last year, and it's insane that that's the case, but that is a fact. And the question is, do they now?
And that's the thing is I keep trying to weigh in my mind. Truly stunning the first day I went to fall camp, because within 15 minutes you're like, oh my God, they are way better on defense. You don't even have to see them operationally. The bodies, like just the personnel is significantly upgraded in terms of talent. Like they just look like better, bigger, stronger college football players, period. And then you watch them run around, do drills, you're like, wow, it's a big-time athleticism upgrade. The thing I'm trying to weigh is, though, one, do they look way better because they are way better or because last year was not very good? Like, what's the middle ground?
Right. Well,
and then the second
both
one
could be true.
It both could be true,
right.
Totally. And then the second one is, do they also look really good because they're really good or because the offense is really bad? I thought the offense looked better yesterday. I got a chance to see the Griz on Tuesday. Offense did look better. I think the offensive line's still swimming a little bit, but I think everybody else on the team, I think offensive skill is good. I think Ayat actually looks way better. We'll get to him in just a little while. But regardless, the one thing I can say with full confidence is they have a significant talent upgrade. The transfers they brought in are better than the transfers they brought in last year. I can say that almost without a doubt. Now, can they fit into a scheme, fit into a culture, fit into the rigors of a Bobby Houck coach team throughout the scope of a season? Unsure, but they are talent-wise way better defensively.
Well, I mean, I don't think there was another option, and so I mean that's obviously good, but it was also like
especially if you're Bobby Houck, right, and you want to lean on your defense all the live long day,
for
right?
sure.
And there's no way he doesn't know, right? He's always going to protect his guys when he's talking in the media or whatever. But make no mistake, when they gave him a 55 to Weber State at home last year, they changed their defense. Well, I asked him about it multiple times, and he's like, nope, same defense, same scheme. It's like, no, you're not blitzing as much. Yeah. You're not putting your corners on islands. And that's what you should have done last year because you couldn't play man-to-man, so they had to adjust. But he had to know, man. I mean, his first day of fall camp, he said, attrition is a great thing for a college football team sometimes. So sometimes you got to move on and move up. And so he knew that they didn't have the guys last year.
Well, for sure. And I mean, there's a lot of guys who left this team, some to graduation, some to transfer out, and some just like, we're done. We're just not going to play football anymore. We're good. And, a season like last season, you're going to have some of that, it seems like to me. So we'll find out, obviously soon enough what happens with, what they look like. And they certainly look better, to your point. But also, if they continue to run what is a very atypical type of defense.
Sure.
One of the things, they implemented that over years when Coach Houck first got here again, and guys were coming through in the more traditional form at that stage.
Exactly.
And learning it and knew what to do, knew what they needed to do and how. And here, how much of that playbook can you really implement? And I don't know the answer to that.
It's such a good point because in 2021, they were really good on defense. In 2022, they had great talent on defense, and they kind of just fell apart towards the end of the year. And in 2023, they were straight lights out on defense.
Yeah.
And what was the common theme? everybody from Alex Gumber to Trajan Cotton to Levi Janicaro and Tyler Flink and Braxton Hill and all their great linebackers and Robbie Houck and Garrett Graves and Nash Valley. Every single one of these guys was a 2, 3, 4 year starter.
That's right.
Guys have been in the system for 4, 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
Marcus Wilnell talked about it on this podcast and on Nuanez Now multiple times throughout last year. He said, it took us forever to grasp the scheme, and then we had this whole year off.
Yeah.
And that's why we became so good, is we had 2020 where it was like a redshirt year for everybody.
Yeah.
Then we come out in 2021, and we beat the Washington Huskies because we got so much stuff up our sleeves. It's a real dynamic here for sure.
I played lacrosse in college, Colter.
Back in the previous century, long time
That's right.
ago.
And actually, that's not true. It was in the 2000s. Thank you. I went to high school in the 1900s. I played defense, and we had a very, very good defense for a couple years while I was on that team. And we had always brought in kids who generally had pretty much never played lacrosse before. It's a club level thing, and at that time it wasn't available in high schools a lot of times like it is now. And so we had the simplest defense you can have, which is just sort of if a guy gets beat, you slide at Jason, whoever's the closest guy, you go over, pick it up, recover, and do that kind of thing. And at some point we played long enough, we're like, hey, let's implement a new defense that is a more like a higher level type of defense. We've got the dudes to do it. Let's do it. And it had like a kind of a zone scheme concept to it with some sliding from different places that was supposed to sort of, confuse the offense. And you know what it did? It confused the defense.
Sure.
And we tried, and everybody kind of knew what to do, but you're just a step slow and you're not really there. And 5 out of 6 of you are on the same page, but not everybody. And we were not what we should have been.
Yep.
And we finally got together. We said, hey, we're not doing this anymore. We're doing what we know, and we're going to go hard and fast. And we were much, much better. And anytime you go from high school to college or from one program to another program, it's going to be a learning curve. You're going to have to figure a bunch of stuff out. But also, and this is the responsibility of the coaches, you got to know what these dudes can handle and what they do well. And how are you going to get what you want out of them? And it's an open – it's not an exact science. This is not a science. It's an art. And you got to find a way to do that, both sides of the ball. And I think that – I thought it took them way too long last season to make an adjustment. You could see out the gate, we can't really do this.
Yes.
And they did it for half a season.
Yeah, right.
And, that's that they, and so at some point, like, you can say, hey, this guy is making a mistake. This guy's making a mistake. If they don't make these mistakes, the players, it works. That's true. When those mistakes, though, are recurring and happening over and over again, we've got a scheme issue here. We've got a coaching issue here.
Right. So let's start with, how would you characterize the real estate market currently in both Missoula and Western Montana?
Well, currently in Missoula, we've seen a rise in inventory and buyer activity slow down a little bit. So it's turning more into a buyer's market, more than I've probably ever seen in the last 10 years or so.
So what does that mean, a buyer's market? How would you define that?
A buyer's market is really just means that there's more homes for sale than there are buyer demand. So buyers have choices, especially in negotiations.
And that means less leverage for somebody that's selling their house, more leverage for somebody that's tried to buy a house, correct?
Correct. More leverage for buyers.
Okay, so if you are a buyer and you hire you as your realtor, how do you go about then sort of taking advantage of that said advantage?
Well, right now you have the upper hand in negotiations, right? And first we start with the CMA and get a value and see where that price falls in, or where the value is for the buyers. And then there's other things that we can negotiate, such as like seller concessions to help buy down the interest rate or give you a temporary break or relief on an interest rate to help with that monthly payment.
That's where a realtor with your expertise comes in, right? Because you're great at the negotiation part of this.
Yeah, exactly. You want someone that's been in the business a while, that's seen the fluctuations in interest rates in different markets, and has also great partners within the industry, such as lenders.
What other things do you talk about in this current real estate market, just within the industry?
Well, a big thing I think that's misunderstood is inspections. A lot of people think inspections are just pass-fail.
Sure.
Really, an inspection just gives you a full picture of everything that's going on with the components of the house, From that, the buyers can decide to negotiate, whether that's negotiate price, negotiate seller concessions for closing costs and interest rate buy downs, negotiate repairs, or simply just walk away from the deal.
So if you want to find out about that and other listings that you have, how do they find them?
Best way is just get a hold of me by phone, 406-544-9794.
Okay. Anything else? Well, it's like the old saying goes, scheme exists to mask deficits in talent. That's where I just wonder, if you're going to go down the road that Montana's going down right now, 28 transfers, you're bringing in guys that, some of these guys look like guys they've never had before. Like Sullivan Tulialapupu, the kid from USC, who's a seventh-year seeder, he looks like Junior Seau. He's really. I'm not saying he's that caliber of player, but like 6'3", 250 is. There's a lot of different versions of that. Yeah. He's the version that looks like he play on Sundays. He looks like not like a lot of the guys that they've had. He doesn't look like their other, as our good buddy Chad Eckergen calls them, the piss missile linebackers. He doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
He looks like a pro. So if you have talent, though, if you're going to go down this road, I know they're not going to do this. They have a system. Bobby Houck's a principled person. He's also a discipline-oriented person. They are all so obsessed with their details and their execution, their operation, all that sort of stuff. You just wonder if, in the perfect world, if they'd say, okay, we're going to go the transfer route, we're going to just stack talent. Okay, let's run the simplest system we can.
Right. Well, the Legion of Boom in Seattle ran the simplest thing in the world.
Right.
But when you have Earl Thomas and Richard Sherman and Bobby Wagner and Cam Chancellor, you can do that.
That's right.
So the question is, who do you have? But the other thing is, there's also different, there is a base level to this scheme where it's like you have to get to that or you're not running this defense.
Right.
But then there's layers to it too.
Totally.
And you don't have to be, at the A++ version of it. You can run a base version of it. To some extent, but even that though is a very different style, very different system, and do you have the guys who can, as a group, as 11 guys playing together, not thinking, just going, can they do that?
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Town Pump. Right down the road. Pump it up. Oh, yeah.
Big Sky Breakdown, proudly presented by the Bobcat Collective at Montana State. The Bobcat Collective is the NIL collective that serves Montana State University student athletes. The collective is partnered with Montana State to connect fans, alumni, businesses, and local nonprofits with Montana State student athletes. Opportunities through the collective allow student athletes to earn compensation while serving the greater Montana State University community. Sign up now for memberships and enjoy automatic entry into raffles for free tickets while supporting the bright minds at Montana State. They have multiple different membership tiers, and you can also be a one-time supporter, and you can also business partner or corporate supporter. Visit bobcatcollective.com for more. Big Sky Breakdown, probably presented by the Bobcat Collective, the NIL collective of Montana State. You want to find out more, visit bobcatcollective.com. So that transitions us into the Bobcats. I'll ask you the exact same question. What is the main narrative, do you believe, around the Montana State football team coming off of a 15-1 season, a loss in the national championship game, a second Big Sky title in 3 years?
Well, we are in the same place that we were in Vegan's second year.
Absolutely.
Where we are with the Montana State Bobcats now in the post-Tommy Mellott era and post a lot of other great players that graduated off of that team and post a run to the national championship game.
Yep.
So what does it look like now? Mm-hmm. And I think you and I both, the first time that this was the case, when it was the post-Troy Anderson group, we thought, well, if they make the playoffs, it's probably a success. I mean, it's going to totally. Who's even going to be out there? Like, you're never going to have that again.
They had 6 NFL guys on that team. Troy Anderson, Daniel Hardy, Ty Okada, Lewis Kidd, Lance McCutcheon, and they had one other. Well, I guess Tommy Mellott, he was just a freshman back then. But they had 5 guys that went straight to the NFL off of that team.
But Coach Vegan proved everybody wrong.
I mean,
or the skeptics at least.
I mean, they ran the table.
We're going to be fine.
They went undefeated in the Big Sky Conference in the following season.
So I think that is baked into this, though, too, where I think there's way less skepticism now about, well, what is Montana State going to be? There's questions, of course, because we haven't seen it. But I don't think people are questioning that how good are they going to be. I think everybody goes, oh, they're going to be really good again. And they're just going to run the football for 400 yards a game, and they're just going to do what they always do. That, though, does come with pressure, starting with Coach Vigen.
No doubt.
Like now, he's showing what he is, and he's the guy who was a pretty hot commodity last hiring cycle, and interviewing different places, and weren't sure if he was coming back
New
or
Mexico, Washington State.
So, where is this team going to be at, and where is he going to be at as the coach with this group? And it's every season's a new season, man. But some seasons are newer than others, and this is one of the newer types of seasons with a new quarterback and a new group of guys where there's, again, a lot of not unproven, but unseen, players here, both sides, and yet you think what you're going to get. And the question is, do you get it? Are your expectations met? Our expectations before were exceeded, but they were low. Now the expectations are high.
No doubt.
Are they going to be able to meet those expectations?
Yeah, and I think that part of the high expectation is the record of success that Coach Vigen has.
For sure.
But also part of it is that he has implemented and sustained the tried and true formula that he learned at his alma mater at North Dakota State. And that is, if you're really good on the lines, everything else is going to fall into place.
No question.
You watch the Cats. I mean, they since Vigen took over, they play 10 defensive linemen in a game. So you know who the next guys are. Even if you lose Brody Grebe or Blake Schmidt or whoever, you know who the next guys are because they all played. Mm-hmm. And this year they got Paul Brock coming back, who was a starter last year, Kenneth Iden, who was a starter, and then Zach Cruz, who played a bunch because he was in that rotation. That's a pretty good place to start on defense. Offensively, they don't rotate on the offensive front, but they have this unbelievable sample size of being able to rehash this. Like coming out of 2021, they lost Lewis Kidd to the NFL, Taylor Tuiasosopo, who's a 4-year starter and a two-time first-team All-Big Sky guy. They had multiple guys enter the transfer portal, TJ Session, Connor Wood. Zach Red retired early when he was an All-Big Sky player. And coming out of that year, Vigen said, we're going to be better on the offensive line. And we were all like, what are you talking about? You have a walk-on center in Justice Perkins who's 6 feet tall, and you're going to start 3 other freshmen around him. Well, those guys that were up next were Marcus Ware, who should have gone to the NFL, but he's the highest-graded offensive lineman in college football last year as a senior at Montana State. But he was a sophomore in 2022. Then you got guys like Rush Reimer, who ended up at Cal, now plays for the Bills. Connor Moore, who ended up at Michigan State. They've done this before. And, even last year, you lose all these guys. You lose Omar Bedion, a transfer to Baylor. Reimer transfers to Cal. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Lights out. Yeah. Great. Yeah. So I think that you lean on that. They have some returning talent. Titan Fleischman, I think, has a chance to be one of the best guys in the league. Burke Mastel was a starter last year. But I think they just have this. They have the proof in the pudding, right? Like they've just done it before, so you just believe they're going to be good on the offensive and defensive lines.
One of the things I love about college football specifically that you don't get in the NFL, you don't get anywhere else, and it's not always this way, but this is true for both Montana and Montana State this year. Mm-hmm. Now, my dad, as you know, forester, right? So can I do a little forestry? When we got fires, man, forest fires, you see what burned, right?
Yes.
But what you never see is maybe what didn't burn because there was good management practices, right? Mm-hmm. So it's easy to account. Now, this is a negative example because fires are bad, right? But you get what I mean. We know Isaiah Ifanse.
Right.
And then if he goes down, which he did, you go, oh, my God, well, what are we going to do? How's it going to go?
Right.
Oh, it's fine.
Just got another guy.
Just
next guy.
Next back, going to go 200 yards and 3 scores. No problem. And not that they're as good as the starter. The starter's a starter for a reason, or the guy that graduated, Marcus Weir, for example, highest graded offensive lineman in football. But we know them.
Right.
So it's like we can assess, like we see the guys who are there and then the guys that leave, and we recognize, as whether it's fans or as members of the media or whatever, the deficit of the loss of those guys.
Yes.
But it's impossible to feel the hey, but this guy, He's really good, and that's why the season's so fun.
This is why the exhaustion of the COVID years is so important for college football, to reach back to having a balance of like the symbiosis of the ecosystem. Because when you have a guy who's a 7th-year player, who's a 4 or 5-year starter, that guy is so much better than the next guy.
Yeah, right.
When the guy is a junior and the guy below him is only 2 years younger than him, you can have Isaiah Fonte go down and then you just plug in Scott Trey Humphrey or Adam Jones or Julius Davis or whoever else. I know those guys didn't cross over if Fonte left or whatever, but like last year, Scott Trey Humphrey was out for the Cat Griz game. What happened? Adam Jones rushed for 200 yards. It was no problem. You just throw the next guy in there, right? When there's not the deficit or the gap in the years, I think that helps this dynamic. But I agree with you so much. That is such a key part of college football that I hope is a key part moving forward as well.
And I also think too that the world of coaching, I think we've talked about this so much, and I still think we're completely underselling how much different it is and how different coaches have to coach now than they did before. And it's not just the transfer portal or the money co-ops that we're trying to find, amounts of money to give guys to come in and play or whatever the case may be. And I'm not just talking about football, but it's probably most pronounced in football just because there's so many, 100 players on a football team. There's so many guys. But you have to change how you are coaching now.
Right.
Like literally what you're doing. And you can talk about the scheme and how, like, the systems you want to run and all that, but like who you are or how you're going to sort of make a team and relate to players and what the program's going to look like, it just is different. It's not just different, it's completely different.
Right.
And the coaches that are able to evolve with that, and other coaches who are just more suited to it, maybe don't have the history, I don't know. Both Coach Houck and Coach Vegan have a long history in the coaching profession prior to COVID, say, and also all the changes with the NCAA and transfer portal. But the question is like, to what extent have they evolved? And I think both clearly have a lot. But also it's still remains to be seen, like, to what level can you ascend in the new world of coaching?
Is a jewelry design center.
JDC is a family-owned business with deep roots in Montana. Why Montana? Because this community made us family, made us artisans, made us believe in love, made us hometown heroes. Because this community made us shine. Why Montana? Because Montana is home.
Coaching.
Well, and like the Cats took 5 transfers this offseason. The Griz took 28. Multiple of the Cat coaches, when I've interviewed them, I'm not going to say they're taking shots at the Griz, but they are acknowledging the difference in the way that they are going about things compared to very many other programs at the FCS. They are saying, we want to look first to who's going to replace Tommy Mellott. Okay, who's on our roster? Then next, can we go get a guy? And they went and got Justin Lamson in the transfer portal. But who's going to replace Connor Moore? Next, they got guys on their roster that they want to replace Connor Moore. And they've talked about that a lot. And I think that's one of the great case studies of this specific season, is that I think both these head coaches want to do it like that.
Of course.
And one of them decided he's not going to do it like that anymore. And I know that there's a lot of old school people out there that are, I hate the transfer portal, I hate NIL, get off my lawn. Why is Coach Houck going down this route? On one hand, I think that if he could have it his way, he would do it the old school way.
Of course.
But I also think that there is an element of the risk-taking being brilliant, because you can say, all right, who's won 10 out of the last 13 national championships? North Dakota State. How have they done it? Great. Let's replicate that. The Cats have done that. They've replicated it. What have they done? They've lost to North Dakota State in the playoffs 6 out of the last 8 years. Yep. They can't beat the team they're replicating. So what if the actual way to do that?
Do it a different way.
What's Bobby Houck done?
Mm-hmm.
He's 1-0 against North Dakota State.
Mm-hmm.
Do it a different way. Like, there's one, you can say this is the tried and true only formula that works, or you could say, well, we got to do something different than what these guys are doing.
I also kind of think that in the following sense, both are right. If you were Montana State last year and you went to the national championship, and a very disappointing loss, obviously.
Yes.
But with that type of team, even with the guys that you lost, you should only be getting 5 transfers.
Sure, right.
And if you're the University of Montana, you better doggone well get 28 new bodies in here and overhaul the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Like if they're like, oh, we only got 5-6 transfers, you'd be like, what are you doing?
Right.
What is going on? So I think that
so true, man.
In this sense, like I don't cast aspersions either direction.
Well,
here.
sometimes they always do the spin cycle where it's like, well, we won 9 games and we won a playoff game, and it's like, no. If you watched what happened with the Griz last year, they were a disaster at certain points in the season. But more than anything, it's just not up to standard. I don't care who you are or who's trying to spin what. It's not up to standard to lose 2 home games if you're the University of Montana, period. And it's also not up to standard to go into a second-round playoff game on the road and have no chance. And like, also, that's not part of what Griz football is supposed to be.
Look at the collective winning percentage of the teams Montana beat.
Exactly.
I mean, what's it, like 300 or something? Right, I mean, it's just putrid.
Like, congratulations, you're beating Northern Colorado
and
Cal
just
Poly.
god-awful football teams. Like those, I mean, okay, you won.
Sure.
So what?
Like you played against UC Davis and you're basically having to like hold on to the rope to just make sure you lose 31-14 instead of get blown out. Like against the Cats, like they played a mitigation game. Those guys stepped up and actually played pretty well considering. And they still lost by, however many, more than 2 touchdowns, which it's not where you need to be.
Yeah.
It is the Big Sky Breakdown. Ryan Tootell joining us here on the Big Sky Breakdown. I think that's don't you think though that's probably the most fascinating case study going into this year?
What's that?
The fact that you have one team that decided, okay, we're doing it this way.
For sure.
And you have the other team that decided we're doing it this way. And they are diametrically opposed to each other.
Yeah.
And both teams have very high expectations coming into the season.
Well, and I think that that creates a much higher level, you would think, of consistency year over year for Montana State. But you also have the opportunity to hit the home run if you're the Grizzlies.
Right.
And like last year was just a strikeout. So now, this year, have they found it? Have they found the people and the formula and the players to get to make it magic?
Yes.
And that's why, as they say, they play the game. I mean, that's why everybody's pumped up about another season of football.
Next is Town Pump, keeping us fueled up all season long. We'll be headed out to Eugene, Oregon next week to cover Montana State in their season opener. And the following week, 2 places at once. We in Missoula for the first college game day of the year, leading into the Central Washington opener. And then I'm going to hit the road and also go hit up the Gold Rush, too. So see if we can get both openers on the docket. Too bad they both kick at the exact same time. But we'll figure out a way to make it work. Either way, couldn't do it without Town Pump, keeping us fueled up all football season long. Good stuff, man. Let's do it again next week. What do you think?
I'm in.
Ryan Tootell, Colter, Nuanez, Big Sky Breakdown.